Okay, let's do the minute approval. I'll look at the guest.
I didn't see any changes.
Comments, criticisms?
We have to do both separately or public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll do the regular meeting first.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Gene,
Yes.
BJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
You're okay with the
Yeah,
public hearing?
yeah, we got a public hearing on our records commission, so I'll make a motion to approve the minutes on that.
Any trustee approval, or just the guys that were, the people that were there?
I don't know.
Probably
I
just
would
your
say
approval,
just the
it's
people
two
who
of
were
us,
there.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You agree?
yeah,
Okay.
I don't think you need a motion.
All right. And our guest speaker tonight, Ron DiNardo.
Good evening. So I have the representative here from Circle K. Will be doing a presentation for you, gentlemen. And he also has a civil engineer here to ask maybe any technical questions, but I'm gonna hand it off to you guys, and you guys can introduce yourselves and take it from there.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Brett Lamb. I am the Real Estate Development Manager for Circle K. My job is really to find and develop new locations for us throughout the state of Ohio, really is my primary territory. So I'm here before you today to kind of talk about this project. A little bit of background on how we kind of came to this is my company, again, is making a concerted effort to try to identify areas where we have a customer base, or we know we have a good solid customer, and we just don't have newer assets. This is a newer concept that we're doing. This is kind of the elevation, as you can see today. That's a 5,200 building. One of, probably the newest one we built would be in Solon. I don't know if you guys have ever get up that way, but we just did a site there.
What about the one at 87 in Bell? Is that you guys?
That's an acquisition, but it's not one of our newer sites. So what we're building today, I think, serves the community a lot better than maybe some of the older stuff. So this store, we're showing 5,200. What we're actually proposing to build here would be a 5,200 square foot C-store, and then it would have an attached QSR, so that's a 2,000 square foot QSR. So in total, the building would be around 7,000 square feet total. That inside of these new 5,200s, we're able to really offer everything that our customers are looking for. That's, the fresh food fast, which is, grab and go stuff, healthier for you options, and really trying to put our best foot forward in, obviously here in Auburn Township. These investments for our company, just for the background, when we're doing a store like this, you're talking around $8.5 to $9 million investment to do a store of this size. So when we come to these meetings, I usually have approval from my investment committee. So before you today, this went all the way through our chain internally, all the way up to our founder and CEO. So that process, obviously when we're spending that kind of money, they do look at everything that we're doing and how we're going about it. So what we're proposing again is a 7,000 square foot store. We're showing 7 pumps up front for your auto customer, and we're showing 4 lanes of diesel. This would serve not only the truckers, but anybody that is using a recreational vehicle, towing a boat, anything along those lines, so that's here. We do show some truck parking. The intention of this, again, we're showing QSR, the intention of this is not to be a truck stop. Circle K is not Lowe's, we're not in that business, but we do want to be able to offer business and fuel for folks that are coming off of 422. And our research shows there's a need for that here.
What's a QSR?
So QSR, sorry, it's a quick serve restaurant. So it's Wendy's, McDonald's, Taco Bell, you know. So that would be something that we're looking to incorporate into this as well. So, what I'm going to, I'll share these with you, so you guys have a copy. And one thing we wanted to talk to you about is a big part of this is access. So what we're showing on this plan is an access road that is on a parcel that the township currently owns today. We've done multiple designs. This is the one that our company and ODOT have the most faith in. I'll use that word lightly, but it's a big reason because of that is ODOT encouraged us to get as far away from the on-ramp to 422 as possible in accordance with what they had previously shown. In this, you'll see as a recommended, when development comes to this area, whether it's us or somebody else, ODOT had an opinion, when we went to them, where the access road should be. So what you'll see here are 3 access points drawn in red there. The closest to the on-ramp for 422, that is a design that we initially showed, and that would be limited to a right-in, right-out. The middle is where we are proposing on the plan that you just saw. That would be where that access is, and that is on Auburn Township's property. Farthest down from that intersection with what ODOT did probably 10 years
It's
ago.
maybe 10 years ago or so.
So 10 years ago, when they studied this intersection and what's best for the intersection, for the township, and for safety, was the recommended to get to there. Our conversation with them was, hey, we like where your access is here, it's far enough away and close enough to what we originally thought 10 years ago we should do.
Now, which one are you talking about?
So in the
The
middle.
northernmost?
Yeah,
No,
the
middle.
northernmost, yeah.
So in the middle.
This
that-
is the northernmost here.
The northernmost was their original, that was the one, you know, give or take 10 years ago, that ODOT, when they did the study for the overall intersection here, that is where they kind of landed. I
Yeah,
guess.
and apparently, to get a bit of history on this, when we started looking at the properties, we recognized right off the bat that access is a major concern at any location. And this is a relatively undeveloped area, so this would be a new project. And ODOT, apparently there are some projects, there's been interest in this corridor for some time. And so I don't know the history of who developed this or why, but this was shared with us in our teams meeting with a couple of ODOT representatives. Frankly, I screenshot it to say, okay, what was the objective then, and how could this work? And this plan that you're seeing on this aerial background in the black lines, ODOT's explanation to us was, at some point in the future, the ramp on the north side of 422 may need to be signalized. Inevitably, this corridor will probably develop. So you've got a signal here, you've got a signal at the next road north. How could these develop and create a safer access path? So centrally located would be one of the best solutions. And with their configuration, they admitted that, look, this is about right, we can move either way, but this may allow a future development of the properties on the west side too. And their goal would be, again, I used a red pen, that northernmost drive is lined up with one that they put on the west side also.
They want a road. They
Yeah,
want an
yeah,
interchange.
whether it's a road or private drives.
I've sat in on
Yeah.
several meetings for the guy across the street from you.
Yeah,
that
so
was trying to get that done, and,
Yeah, well, his plan was to put a station on the other side, but wasn't there an issue with ODOT that they wanted an additional?
all they were given him was left in,
yeah,
left out. Is that right?
And they wanted.
right in.
Right in,
probably
right in,
yeah,
right out,
yeah.
right.
And they wanted an additional lane put in that he would have to finance.
Yeah, there's some, so there'll be improvements that are required. in
Yeah,
that
I'm
corridor.
100%, I agree with you. I sat at this very table with ODOT people and ASHBA and some county people, and, yeah, it was pretty clear they want another interchange between the freeway ramp and East Washington Street. And that's how you're gonna access all those properties, is from that road, rather than having individual accesses on the 54.
Right. And my specialty is, although we deal with traffic all the time, I'm not a traffic engineer per se. But what I've learned along the way, I mean, these are allocated, dedicated properties, and the owners of those properties, whoever they are, would have a right to access, whether it's full access or restricted. More than likely, it'd be a right in, right out. These driveways that I show in red, the southernmost driveway doesn't incorporate any use of what is now the township property. And if that project, if Circle K would try to develop this, and we've looked at layouts that would work for Circle K, meaning they could get the fueling in their building, but the access wouldn't really satisfy what ODOT would want. Now, I'm not speaking for the community, but I'm just saying this is probably less than desirable for Circle K and ODOT's long-range plans. But it could work. We could put in an access point there. It may be restricted to right in, right out. And we're here now to kind of introduce this concept and say, is there a method to achieve what Circle K wants and get a long-range plan that works for the township too, and recognizes there's development proposed. What can we do to minimize the disturbances on 44? And so without filing an application, it was an introduction meeting, and let's try to get some feedback.
Circle K would own the property that they're building this on, so they're purchasing all this property.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Correct. And if you go back to the other plan that Brett started with, you can see, and again, we call these, this CSP is the name we use, conceptual site plan. There's some things that can change in these. This shows the basic function and basic layout for their site to work. And if you look at the plan, I didn't label it on here as well, but there's this text that says hatched area, 50-foot cross easement. Actually, where the text is outlines what is now the Auburn Township property, and that's this primary entrance drive. Yeah, the long east-west driveways on this plan solely on township property. And I don't know what the township's uses of that property are. I mean, right now, I guess it's vacant, maybe used as a storage yard or something, but we have some long-term goals. But there may be methods to construct some type of access that could then, if you imagine in the future, this may be able to come in and then provide another access road to the north. If those would ever develop, maybe the township could use some of this property in the back. Maybe we could reconfigure things to make use for the township. But say we're showing, where we could get something that may works for the township, may works for Circle K, and is a step toward ODOT's plans or ODOT's thoughts from as much as 10 years ago.
If you cut that building in half, the whole thing in half, could you do it without using our property?
I can't speak for Brett, but I would say, projects of $8 million require a fairly large building to be sustainable. The last thing we want to do is build something that doesn't live. You know, it's gotta be a business that has enough products and goods to sustain itself. There's no showers in this, so this isn't going to be like you said, it's not a truck stop, it's a fueling and convenience store location with some restaurant that is yet to be determined, and a drive-through shown on it.
Yeah, we've had initial conversations with some of those quick serve restaurants that would be interested in coming here with us, but it only kind of works together. Right? They serve a different customer than us, but we work together really well, and there's some synergies there, so that everybody, I mean, we're a for-profit business, we're looking to make money, obviously, but, you know, the reason that we want to do this size, kind of answer your question, cut it in half, we wouldn't be able to offer our full offer, which I think would be a disservice to the community, as well as, you know, it's also, to his point, we don't want to be out of business in, you know, 10 years. We want to be here for the next 50+ years. And I mean, when we build these assets, we say, it's $9-10 million. That's a 40-year asset. And obviously there'll be remodels and there'll be stuff we got to do along the way. But we're coming in and you know, build something nice that's going to be sustainable.
To answer your question though, one of the things that might not be real clear when you first look at it, the building is actually completely off of township property. So with this plan, the only thing that's on right now township property is this access drive. And the way we have it laid out, a little bit of a drive-through for this future quick serve restaurant. Is there room to move it down a little bit? Yeah, we can probably adjust things a little bit, but we just need to, you know, we haven't completed a full survey yet, but there are no structures, no buildings, no canopies, no tanks, anything on township property, just access drive at this point.
Like I said, I mean, just from my vantage point, you know, we view that piece of property, it's an asset of the township.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't really valued that asset, which is why we haven't really looked serious at selling it, because
Yeah, it's there.
it's there,
Right.
okay? So the question arises, if we give someone an easement, it's kind of affecting that asset, because it's not like we can sell that piece of property now, because
You're using it.
you're using it, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, I mean, I think what he was kind of getting at is, we would, I think, not only us use it, but if we design it properly, there will be other uses here, so it kind of opens up, like we would, to use a, kind of, we'd be that catalyst here, and we build the road, it would allow for the
Yeah,
rest of that.
along those lines, that's the only question I'm gonna have for you here, is this basically is hugging the north end of our property.
That's
Mhm.
correct.
Would that drive, and it's got ingress and egress there, so you got two-way traffic.
Mhm.
Would that be built like to engineer specifications as a public highway? Could it be?
It could be, yeah. As a matter of fact, so the reason that I designed it, or we have it laid out this way, is because we do anticipate some trucks coming in there. And you need to have those trucks straight. I want them at the intersections so they're not at an angle, we're not blocking access here. And this would be a heavy-duty pavement. If you anticipate any type of 18-wheelers on it, it would be a heavy asphalt or concrete pavement through there. So yeah, we would build it to whatever specifications we need for our access, but for future users too.
Yeah, I've seen firsthand that this is, to me, the ODOT situation and what they want and what they really don't want, that's the bottleneck here on getting anything started down there. It really is. I saw the guys make that clear. That was what, 8-10 years ago now?
Yeah, that was, I mean, that killed the whole project, when ODOT got involved.
Yeah, they have a tendency to do that.
Yeah, we've had some projects that,
But that's why, I mean, it's important for us to, you know, be ahead of this, cooperate with them, give them what they want, because ultimately, you don't win that fight.
So I guess what I'm saying is, you got the value of the property, which we don't have any immediate use for. or, and you also have to look at it as, you got the value of the property to the township, which is undetermined right now. And it also is gonna open up development for these other parcels, because that's what ODOT wants. So that's my thoughts on it.
Not really, but I think what Bob's saying is, again, we're open to potentially, if you guys wanted some land, and we did a reciprocal easement so that we could still own this, we would build the road, we maintain it. But then we do have this land back here that we're not using, but we are acquiring.
At a glance, area-wise, I mean,
So there's value there.
yeah, the township property is, long and narrow, right? So I sit there and I try to figure out what would a township put on there. You might have it for storage, maybe salt storage, salt bins. I'm not sure what else. You might-
Bowling alley?
maybe- Yeah, bowling alley, shooting range, I suppose, I don't know. But there's the possibility of working with Circle K, and if this roadway was in, there's, I'd say equivalent area or larger back here that maybe the township could use.
I mean, by building this road, this unlocks value back here,
Yeah.
significantly.
And I think it's a step toward the planning. Now, we'd still have to go through a traffic impact study, submit that to DOT, get approval, see what improvements, restriping, possible widening would have to require along 44. And maybe that would be a phased project with Circle K's being the first part, and as other users came through, they may have to do some widening on their own, but we've laid that groundwork in place early on.
You had mentioned, both of you, it's been originally the Sahau property, that is there some type of agreement that it could be used for like gas station or any service type work for like a 30-year period of time?
If there's,
I can answer,
many times it's deed restricted.
It was deed restricted for 40 years, and the 40 years have passed.
4 years have passed, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty common.
It's in the deed.
Okay, I'll have to think about it.
So,
But, like I said, I think one thing that was also brought up is, we have never really looked into whether or not we can legally give easements for a private enterprise with township property. So that would definitely be something that we'd have to look into.
Well, the other thing is too, if we give them the easement on our property, the
Thank you.
property becomes worthless to us now.
Right, exactly.
So if we're gonna work a deal, you might as well sell it to them, because it's not worth, to give them an easement, you might as well give it to them
Well, you
or
may-
sell it
yeah,
to them.
at that point, you either sell it or do a land swap
Well,
or something.
He said it's an $8 million, $10 million project, another million, and maybe we should just sell it to them.
There you go.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
I wanted to point out.
Just round figures.
yeah.
There is quite a bit of land back here that would be more than this 1.6 that would be available.
Yeah, and then we just want an easement for it 20 years down. We're right back where we started from.
Yeah, I don't know what, and maybe the trustees don't know what the long-range plans were. I can only imagine it's been there probably for a while and nobody's really sure what.
Well, that was actually our road department.
Was it?
There was a building there that was moved up this way, and, yeah, that's where we were in the road department.
Gotcha.
The price of land's not really going down either, they're not making any more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. You ever watch Shark Tank?
On occasion, I just saw a highlight of it.
If this was Shark Tank, I'd say, I'm out. Okay, I'm out. And I'm out because I don't want to sell the property. When this idea first came up, I told the trustees, I'm not interested in selling it. I'm not interested in selling it, I'm not interested in leasing it, I'm not interested in a land easement on it. Now, that's where I am, because I think it'll become more valuable down the road, and it is a township asset. That's just me, I'm not speaking for my associates, they may have other agreements, but that's where I am. I'm not interested in selling it. And it's not a reflection on Circle K, it's not a reflection on you gentlemen. That's just my opinion for the township. That's just me.
And I wouldn't know, and I'm the engineer for Circle K, but
And what was your name? I'm
my
sorry.
name is Robert Willard,
Can you spell your name, Robert?
W-E-L-L-E-R-T, Willard Corporation.
Okay, and you work for Circle K?
I'm a consultant for them, yes. And I can, I appreciate.
Well, I know
It
people
just-
don't like to be dragged around. I'm a person that says what I think.
Yeah.
And I don't want you keep coming back and keep going, well, maybe they're gonna do this. That's where I stand. I stood there before and I still stand here today with that same opinion. Like I said, this is a three-man board. I don't speak for them, I'm speaking for myself on behalf of what I think is best for the township. If you can figure out how to do this without using our property, I would say that's your best bet. But that's just me.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, I think, I understand 100% where you're
You
coming from.
gotta remember too, from my vantage point, like I said, I kind of agree with Gene, but I was willing to listen to this because this is the first I'm seeing this. The only thing I know is they wanted to buy our land. We had no idea what was going on with it, or what the project was, or anything else. So this is the first time I've seen this, so really is something to think about, absorb, decide.
Exactly. Yeah, we weren't expecting you to make a decision here today for us, and I'll also agree, I don't like dragging things out either. Yeses and nos are good, maybes will kill you. So, we're either gonna do this project or we're not, but I will tell you this, for Circle K, and ODOT, and I think for the township too, but, my opinion, is the best place to have this access happens to be on the township's property. I mean, if we can build it and we can have it right in, right out.
I think for your project, yes, that's true. But I haven't seen firsthand what ODOT wants here. The next lot would work for that east-west road that ODOT's going to insist on us having before anybody's gonna get cooperation from them. And I really see that.
But even at
I see
that point, I would just ask, even if it went there, they would desire, or somebody would desire it to extend south through the township property again, right? To access the parcels closer to the ramp.
Well, I can see what this could do for the township. So as I'm seeing it here, you'd almost have to have some contacts with the people that own the west side of the road there, because ODOT's gonna want those two roads to line up for the one, so they have a traffic light in common. And I'd see a temporary cul-de-sac back at the end of your project, where that road could be extended in direction.
Yeah. And,
But,
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, I think without, to your point, I don't know what the township's future plans are for the property.
Nor
So
do
it's
I.
hard- Yeah.
Yeah, and again, its value is, because it's small and it's long and narrow, its value, its highest, greatest value is gonna be an access road. It really is. I mean, at the end of the day, some way, shape, or form, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna end up here, like you said, you're gonna wanna unlock that value, so whoever builds this and spends this money and comes in here is gonna say, whether it's us or somebody else, they're gonna come here and then they're gonna wanna cross. So,
Yeah, I just, some history here. Since that freeway opened in the early 90s, this township has spent tens of thousands of dollars with consultants as to looking how that would develop down there. I wasn't on the board spending that money, it was somebody else. But we've also had Kent State University did a pretty in-depth study on how that would develop down there. What nobody considered was how ODOT carries such a big stick in this. Nobody did. So,
Yeah, that's,
but I recognized it a few years back.
that's where we start on every project.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the undoing of what could be, new developments sometimes. So,
Water, everything we've looked at in the past too, water's always an issue. Because, you've got well water.
You could do this with a well.
Yeah, we did a project in Novelty, Ohio. Are you familiar with?
Where?
Novelty.
87 and 306.
Oh.
That's the one I mentioned.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that building is very similar to the one.
That's what it looked like,
That's on a well, and so we drilled a well and have a treatment system for that property, so. And we've got projects with I know there's sewer available in the area, there might be some limitations in it, but we've done projects.
There are no nobody's tapped into it for 25 years, and all the landowners have paid into it for the last 25 years.
Gotcha.
And Eugene, I think to your point, you said you don't know the value of it. We're open to, we sent you an offer. It doesn't mean at the end of the conversation necessarily. If you think there's more value, come back and, you could save $1 million. We might, you never know unless you ask, so.
Well, I started $1 million, I'd consider it there.
Good round figure.
Yeah.
Nice, easy
I mean, we're open to negotiate.
Actually, you threw out 750,000 at one point in time. You should have
Well,
they should have taken it
And
at
then
that
problem,
time.
our levy passed, now we don't need it.
That's right.
I got a question as a new
Everybody in the
fiscal
background's like
officer. Does an enterprise like this, do we get any revenues out of it? Additional revenues, I mean, is there property tax value that we get, is there
Yeah, there's
gasoline tax that we would get? in
both of
addition?
those for sure. I mean, gasoline, property, I mean, this is gonna bring 15 to 20 jobs to the township, so those folks will be paying taxes.
Yeah, there was a cost of community services study done, it's got some age on it now, by Kent State, and Auburn was the topic, was the subject of the study. And I'm doing this from pretty distant memory at this point, but commercial development brings in like $1.30 for every dollar a township spends. So it brings more in than we would expend on it. Residential is like 70 cents. For every dollar we spend, we bring in 70 cents or some such thing. So, yeah, this it's beneficial to the township. Commercial development is.
Well,
Okay. Well,
you guys have my contact information. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly.
Yeah, and Brett, I don't know, so this information is okay for everybody to have out, and I just don't know on the agreement side where you're at.
You got it. So,
Keep these drawings here.
Yeah, if you want to leave them.
no, we're good. Yeah, I mean, this is fine.
We'll try not to sell them to anybody.
It's all right.
It would be beneficial for us to kind of have some direction, some thoughts, maybe formulate what you guys are making a decision on.
If this was a Buc-ee's, I might think no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings. It's all right.
That would take the whole corner.
Yeah, yeah, you need.
They're definitely not doing it without the
All
township
four
property.
corners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I would, again, we have a layout that I didn't share, but one that doesn't incorporate the township property, it's just less than desirable. And yeah, I think it jeopardizes some of the future uses through that corridor. So if Circle K would elect to proceed with that, it's probably not gonna be as well received by anybody, but they still gonna do that with those things.
All right, you guys.
All right.
Well, thank you
so
for your
much.
time.
Thank you, appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for
Have a
entertaining.
good evening.
Gentlemen, before you leave, I know you introduced yourself,
Yes.
but I didn't catch your name.
Hi, I'm Brett Lamb,
L-A-M-B?
L-A-M-B, just like the animal.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is this at the Ohio property that's been down there at the corner?
It surrounds it,
I don't
yeah.
understand where they're thinking of putting this, you know.
It surrounds where the old Ohio was there.
Okay.
Yeah. Our lot, if you drive past there, there's a gate, and there's some piles of material.
Miles of rocks, you can't miss it.
Can I ask you a question? Let's go pie in the sky. They sell this property to you, and you've got this big piece in the back. Do you foresee that opening up to be a truck stop where they have the overnight trucks
No.
parked there? And
I do not. It is not, we wouldn't allow that. We would restrict from anybody doing something like that because it's not in our best interest either. So we would have an agreement that that wouldn't happen.
And you wouldn't sell it off to Pilot or Flying J?
Oh, it's not
do
big
that?
enough for them to even do anything, but we wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't want the competition.
Yeah, we like to not have our competitors right on top of us usually.
Well, yeah, but if you sell that property off when you're done with it,
Yeah.
then you're like, okay, I'm washing my hands of this, I'm tired of dealing with Auburn.
Yeah,
And you sell it off to somebody.
Scheduled reports.
yeah.
Do we
So-
go into,
Chief
So
Phillips.
at that point in time, 40, 50 years down the road, I mean, I don't know. I might not be around.
The copy of this and the
same size as the one,
Might be two in
So the building's,
novelty, not a place.
yeah, so the building will be very similar,
two different ones?
minus what I've mentioned about the quick serve restaurant, so it'll be much more larger.
That's what I showed you. This is.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Chief Phillips.
Good evening, everybody. Fire department report calls. January to the end of October. EMS calls, we had 540. Last year at this time, we had 409. Fire calls this year, 355. Last
You're
year
saying
was
bad things about me out there?
336. Total calls are 895. Last year was 745. Roughly 150 more. We're up a little bit. Each lady given is 200, last year was 161. Each lady received was 55, last year was 57. Total transports was 355, last year was 291. Total non-transports was 217, last year was 154. Total transfer to other agencies, 2, last year was 0. Total patients was 574, last year was 445, plus 129. Percentage of multiple calls was 22.12%, last year was 25.36%. Last month we had 8 double calls, 1 triple call, and 1 quadruple call. That's it for report of calls. We are moving ahead on our well project. We've got county approval and approved permit to go ahead. We're planning on starting within the next week to 2 weeks. That's on the agenda to get done. The outside fuel tank for the road department and the fire department, we're still working on that. We have some issues that we're trying to find out with the prosecutor in regards to the contract, but we're continuing to work on that. That's it for my report.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Phillips? Okay,
You like the sound effects?
all right. Mr. McCune, what do you got for us?
Well, let me just comment on what we just heard here a minute ago. If in fact he said it wasn't to their advantage to build it off of our property, but they could do it, that makes our property even more valuable if they build that not on our property, because the next guy that comes may offer even more. That's just here or there. I see we got a thing from the Kenston Schools again about their DARE program. I have always attended this during the day. I'll be happy to do it again.
Oh.
And I was hoping to have Hess's new quote to us, or if you remember at the last meeting, we had that 7-page quote from Hess of what they would do to get the ball rolling. And of course, our attorney had all kinds of questions and red lines and everything. And so I sent that to Chip, and he said he could answer every one of those, and he was going to send me back the new one. And I thought I'd have it for this meeting, but I don't have it back yet. So, but that's something we have to do by the end of the year if we're moving in that direction, because those things he showed they would do, that doesn't happen overnight. That's like a 3-4 month project. So hopefully I'll have that available at the next meeting, and we can go over that and decide. He's answered all the things that Chrissy asked about it, and so we'll see. You know, she also mentioned about big projects like that. This isn't a $500,000 government project. This is a septic tank, you know, so I don't think what she said there really bodes for what we're doing, but that's all I have.
PJ?
Yeah, I just wanna, just to build on what Gene said about the proposal we just heard. There's a benefit to the township to get half of that east-west road done. There is. These guys are I don't know if they're offering to build the road. As I said, it's going to be, should this happen, that road will go to more usage than their sole project, so that's something to keep in mind. But what Gene said is right, that property we own there does sit right in the middle of that whole block down there, and
Bucky's may give us $1 million.
it makes it tough to come up with a comparable, because, well, you'd have to find a vacant interchange somewhere else with similar traffic counts on a state highway, and 2 state highways like that, and, yeah, it's kind of unique in, at least in Geauga County, so it's gonna be tough to come up with a comparable there. I appreciate their offer, it was a legitimate offer. Before you even move towards a counter, you'd have to get a comparable type price, and as I said, it's gonna be tough to come up with. Okay, a couple days after the first of all, I wanna thank the voters, Auburn Township, for supporting the road levy. This board put, and Dan as well, put a lot of work into this to make sure that this was an apples and apples thing. Of course, we had the levy that inadvertently expired, which there's a refund check coming to everybody sometime early next year, for the amount that was collected inappropriately. But we really, this levy boiled down to the .65 because that pretty much is dollar for dollar what we lost. And thank the voters for replacing that. It's gonna put us back on good footing with our projects again. So, appreciate it. 2 days after the election, I went up to the library, and Ohio EPA is holding a public hearing, and it's still open until I believe it's November 21st. Somehow the paperwork I brought up to the office here I can't find it. The project, it was the PowerPoint presentation for methane digester that's being built at the north edge of the township off of Munn Road that's proposed. EPA required a hearing for, this hearing was required as part of the Clean Air Act, that when these things are constructed, they'll receive public input. And if anybody's interested, we'll find information tomorrow. We'll have it here by tomorrow afternoon.
Did they have the first hearing?
They did. That's what I went to.
Was it well attended?
No, it was not. It was November 7th. It was 2 days after the election. It was that Thursday. The company that's doing the construction was there. They explained the project. There was some, drawings similar to what we just got here. The entire thing's going to be undercover, contained. There are capturing systems for odors and things like that. It's on the scale of these things, it's pretty small. I believe the project is called through Ohio EPA AD1. As I said, we will find the rest of this tomorrow, and we'll have it here. And the public comment period is still open. So anyway, the company that's building it, the property owner was there, family. Carmela Shale from Soil and Water County was there. Me. That's about it. That's about it. But as I said, it's a mandatory part of.
Was it really that well publicized?
No, it wasn't publicized at all. We had to hunt for it. I was told that there's a hearing coming up, and we made about half a dozen phone calls to the library before they realized, oh yeah, that is here. So, yeah. It's agricultural based. Zoning can't touch it. Mr. Kitco has been, and the zoning department has looked at it, and it's not something that we can or should be regulating, but there are regulators for these things, and that's who you would have to contact, is the Ohio EPA at this point, and we'll get all that information up here by tomorrow, if anybody's interested. That's all I have.
Okay, Dave? All right, since our last meeting, terms of payments, I issued 12 electronic payments totaling $35,677.66, and 13 warrants were processed totaling $6,540.59, for a total of $42,218.25. I got this, you want me to do it now, I can.
Go ahead.
The amended rate resolution, due to our passage of the .65 mil road levy. I got, this came from the county this morning. This came from the county this morning. And what it is, it's Resolution 2024-27. It's an amended resolution for tax year 2024, tax year 2024, collection year 2025. Resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them with the county auditor. I think you all have a copy of it over there somewhere, but it just lists all the levies and the dollar amounts that we'll be receiving. We had a original resolution earlier in the year, but with the passage of the levy, they amended it with the .65. And the .65 mil will bring in $256,313.12. A little under 12, around $12,000 less than what we were getting on the 1 mil. So we need a motion and a second, and then I can get this sent back up to the county for certification.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Okay, which one?
PJ.
Okay, Gene,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay. So you already handled the old business here, Jane? Okay, new business. ODOT Adam Hall agreement. They are looking to rent Adam Hall, and their attorney must be similar to our ADA, because we have, as our standard contract, and here's the part where they're requesting that we remove. It's for and in consideration of the permission to use the above described facility, the undersigned, the quit, discharge, covenant, hold harmless, the township of Auburn, its officers, trustees, employees, servants, and agents. Well, that's in the standard stuff that the government will not sign off on. And we have trouble with that all the time, because this is a standard thing that people put in contracts. So every time we get a commercial contract, it's got one of these in there, and we gotta go back and say, we can't sign that. So we couldn't very well tell them, we're not gonna do this because we have to do it all the time. So anyway, Christie had no problem with us omitting that for ODOT. So I'm going to make a motion to allow removal of the indemnity clause from the Adam Hall contract for ODOT.
Second.
Gene,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. You want to take the next one, PJ? That's in
Yeah, annual
your
township.
road purview?
Yeah, this is something we do annually. You gotta certify with the engineers the mileage that we maintain here in the township. And of course, we haven't constructed any new roads or subdivisions or anything like that in years. But a couple of years ago, we went from 54.3. We went backwards to 53.884. You know why that is, don't you? We've been getting credit for that road that's underwater. When they flooded Ladue for all these years.
Wow.
Which is interesting, because now you can see that road again, so maybe we'll have to start plowing it again, I don't know. But that's why we're at 53.884, and I'll make a motion to certify that with the engineer. There should be something to sign off on here, Dan. Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Gene,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
What do you do for an ice trucker?
There's somebody got a lawn chair out there. Well,
There
when
you
the
go,
weather was
yeah.
good, they had lawn chairs sitting out there.
Okay. All right, and we have the JFD quote for, that's, to pick up, take care of those, some shallow spots in the park.
It's on the ball fields, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a couple of residents say that when the kids were playing football, it was like, it looked like almost a drain pipe that collapsed. The kids were twisting their ankles and stuff playing, so.
So the park work they have here is install the necessary screen topsoil seed and shredded starch to drainage low spots as shown at meeting with Mike Fenster Miker on 11/1/24. Approximate low spots are highlighted in yellow on the second map below. This will be dormant seeding. Seed will not germinate when the ground warms up in the spring. So that's where it's going. Price on that is $1,339.72.
I'll make a motion to
I'll second.
approve.
Gene,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Just need your signature, I guess.
Okay. Now, we have a, to accept new address recommendation from Jog County Engineer for 11611 Washington Street.
It's down past Adam Hall.
And that's where they, it was for an address, and they went to us, and we had to send it up to them, and then.
New lot, must be a new lot or something?
What I don't understand, wouldn't it have had an address anyway, even if it was a bare piece of
Unless they
land?
split a lot.
Let's see, the last.
It doesn't look like it.
No, they didn't split, new house. Back a little
But
ways.
wouldn't that lot have automatically had an address to
No,
it?
some of them don't.
Just a parcel
Really?
number, yeah, that's what I told them.
And once you chop it off, then you gotta go to the engineer, I don't
Okay.
know if it's chopped off.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Second.
Gene,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Okay, franchise fees received from Maltese doing business as Optimum for $1,401.27. I'll make a motion to put that into land acquisition and improvement fund.
I'll second.
Gene,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Okay, and we've got Resolution 2024-26, and this is approving policy update of personnel policies and procedure manual for Auburn Township employees attached here to as Exhibit A. Whereas the personnel policies of Auburn Township, Jog County have not been updated since April 19th, 2010, and as written, Article 1.16, Notice of the Current Auburn Township Personnel Policies and Procedure Manual, adopted by the Board of Trustees on April 19th, 2010. The Auburn Township Board of Trustees, at its option, may change, delete, suspend, or discontinue any part of the parts of the policies in this document at any time without prior notice. And whereas the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township have determined the need to amend the Auburn Township Personnel Policies and Procedure Manual to include the allowing of transfer of unused accumulated sick time credit for new employees with prior service with another public employer attached here to as Exhibit A. And now therefore be it resolved, the Auburn Township Trustees hereby approve the attached amended accumulated sick time transfer policy, which will take effect at the earliest period allowed by law and updated in Auburn Township Policy and Procedure Manual, adopted this 18th day of November 2024.
I'll make a motion to adopt that resolution.
I'll second.
Gene,
Yes.
EJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
This is to transfer and receive, because
Well, we already, oddly enough, when the issue came up, we already had something in the manual about transferring our employees' time out. But we never had a reciprocal one saying that we take somebody from the outside and bring it in. So, since we have a new guy that's coming in and kind of brought up the issue, so we decided that would probably be a good thing. And it's limited to 80 hours, so basically 2 weeks. If anybody's curious. Okay. Looks like the good stuff. All right, any public comment? Yes, Diane.
Just have a kind of a Mickey Mouse question. On one of the warrants, there's a listing for, is it Bestco Hartford? Is that a successor company to Hartford Insurance? Or is this something new and different? I think it's
Dan,
the
my question's coming to you.
what's that?
it's one of the warrants, and I'm just curious who they are. 199/2024.
Oh, Besco Hartford,
Yeah,
that's our medical mutual for us old guys.
okay, so
It's our,
are they the old Hartford Insurance Company or no? No relationship?
Yeah, they're part of Hartford.
yeah, they're part of Hartford.
Oh, okay.
Last year, they came to us and said, hey, you've got a bunch of people that are Medicare eligible.
Yeah,
We can
I
save you
remember.
a ton of money if you go with them for your health care,
Okay, and have they?
vision. Oh, yeah, they saved us
They continue to
nearly
save money?
100,000 last year, and we'll probably save about 80,000 this year. Only because we lost
Couple of the older.
two of the older, the road superintendent, and
Oh,
they were both Medicare
okay.
eligible.
Alright. Interesting. This Ron DiNardo, this is an unrelated question, comment. This Ron DiNardo from Coet Company, did he solicit the township originally?
Yeah, contacted me.
That's it, he just
Quite a while
said,
ago.
we've got to, I'm Ron DiNardo and I have a deal for you.
Yeah,
Essentially.
this guy, they submitted an offer.
Yeah, they submitted an offer for the property,
I didn't hear what the offer was.
$175,000, I believe.
175,000. For how much acreage?
What is down there? I don't even remember now. I think it's two.
Don't you remember at the meeting I said when we were 750 in the hole, I said for 750, I'll consider it? Were you here at that meeting? Maybe not.
I don't remember if that was last spring.
Well, they've been coming and coming and talking and coming, and I don't like to string people along. I mean, it just, now, they may not like it right now, but they absolutely know where I stand on this.
I'm
so.
thinking that might have been July, that they put an
July?
offer on paper, somewhere around there. Yeah, I think it was
Well,
like,
we probably were at that meeting. I
Early
just
midsummer.
don't recall.
we discussed it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
We discussed it.
Yeah.
so as far back as July, that company and Ron DiNardo, I keep thinking he's one of the DiNardos.
Again, this was just this is the first I've seen of anything
That's what you
about
said.
what was going on there.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten a word about it, all it calls is, hey, you wanna sell this property, we got some different stuff we're working on. But
They
nobody
wanted
ever
to
came
go
up
into
and said,
executive session to do this. That didn't warrant executive session to do that.
I mean, he's a nice looking guy, I don't think he looks like, that's Ron Donato according to the picture.
He was here.
Yeah, I know,
Bernardo
I
was
saw
standing
him.
at the far end
I don't
of the
think he
table.
looks like that, I mean, this is apparently a dated picture.
well, it's like a lot of the politicians out, they've worked for the government, they're still using
Whatever,
their,
he was
yeah,
pretty
they're
quiet,
80 years
I
old, they're
thought.
still using their high school picture on their signs.
Yeah, well, he was pretty quiet for being, the head guy, that's my comment, that's my thought.
He hires other people to come and do that.
I gathered that, yeah,
Hey, Gene,
Yes.
thank you for doing that in public.
yeah,
Okay.
thank you, really.
Like I said, it's never been my nature to string people along. I was opposed to it when I heard it in July, and I'm still opposed to it.
Yeah, like I said, pretty much anything we do now.
And it was not a
it's becoming-
reflection on them, it's just,
No, it's just,
If somebody comes up with a request like that, we send it up to the prosecutor's office and we say, look, this is what they wanna do. Is it suitable for, or not? If it's not, then we don't. So,
I think you're saving it for pickleball courts.
pickleball courts or a bucket.
It's probably more suited for bocce, being as narrow as
Yeah.
it is.
I mean, that's big stuff, pickleball now,
Tell me about it. I get
Yeah,
calls
I
every
know.
week.
but,
I'm sorry if I was out of line asking my questions as they were on.
no, those were good questions. And what you don't know is what you haven't seen because it's not written in
None of
the
this.
paper.
Nothing
You
that you
know,
discussed
somebody's
tonight.
word today.
I live on Washington Street.
Yeah.
My last name's Davis.
okay, I'm just trying to see what's here and.
You live on Washington Street and your last name is Davis?
Yes. And, I've been born and raised here 63 years. My mom lives on Washington. We have a huge problem with the noise from the bar that's on 44 off.
Are you related to Jackie Davis?
She's my sister.
And Kathy Davis?
She's my sister.
You're Debbie.
Where do you fit in?
Debbie?
I'm Debbie, I'm number 4 out of 5.
I graduated with you, I think.
I graduated with Jackie. Today's your
know you-
birthday, isn't it? Or yesterday was your birthday?
Yesterday. Yeah, she's in Texas.
I know.
You know, I live in a residential neighborhood, quote unquote, because half of it's commercial property, but my land is residential. I can't even sit in my yard because of that music from that place. It is so loud, it goes till 2 o'clock in the morning, banging on drums because they're outside. I own a brick home. The sound comes across where, Paul Davis is. You know, they took all the trees out. So now there's no sound barrier. And the sound hits my house, and because my home is brick, it's like amplified. I lay in my bed, I get so angry. Like, I've lived here my whole life. What can be done about this so that we can have some peace?
I have a party center right at the end of my drive, and we get calls from the neighbors all the time when they have weddings every weekend there. And unfortunately, we don't have a noise ordinance in Auburn. We can't
Well, I know,
regulate
the
it,
Ohio
and we
Revised
can't.
Code.
Now, I don't know, sometimes with the party center, of course, that music's inside, but you can still feel everything vibrating. But, and that being outside, I don't know if there's anything you can work with the guy that, you know, after 12 it should stop, or after, I don't know what
Sometimes they
his.
start at about 11 in the morning, and they go till 2 o'clock in the next morning, non-stop. You try to have a family picnic, it's horrible.
She's gonna just.
And I feel like it's very detrimental to all of our property value.
She's a township rep.
Not that I'm gonna go anywhere, I plan on dying in that, you know, I don't wanna leave Auburn. My mom lives across the street from me, she's 93 years old.
We do have a noise resolution.
Well, I read something in the zoning online that involved the patio, and then they were exempt from it. It was very confusing to me.
Yeah, they came from, it's separate from the patio issue. This was a standalone noise resolution.
But this was basically from,
Remember, Albert Tian was,
Yeah.
came to the meeting, and he's the one that,
but that was,
did the
it's an
background on
ordinance between business and residential.
Which is what she's
So
saying
that
she
may
is.
apply.
Which is what she's saying she is. You're like the first lot outside, because 3 and 5's old place was Paul Davis. And you're the
Paul
next one?
Davis on my side of the
Yeah,
road?
you're the next one over.
No, I'm 2
You're
down
2
from
over.
there.
So you are over, okay.
Well, I'm
She's
I'm
in
the
yellow.
3rd one down from Paul Davis, the little red brick house. My parents, many, many years ago, hired Forrest Burt to represent them in fighting that commercial zoning coming down our road. And then there was an agreement, they look like, to make everybody happy, it stopped next to my mom and dad's house, which used to be the Mark Next, and it's now a landscaping company.
The Auburn Inn never bothered you?
They've never disrupted the neighborhood, ever.
Huffs, they do play outside, it's
Yeah,
right under.
especially the drum guys.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I mean, I love music, I'm all for going out and having a good time. I'm getting a little too old to do it now, but, you know, I know what it was like to be young and want to do that stuff. But when you live there, I'm a bird watcher. I like to sit in my yard in a peace and quiet and identify birds, and you can't do it. I can't even enjoy my own property anymore.
As I said, there is a resolution it's probably, what would you say, it was 5 years ago? 5 and 10 years ago?
Between 5 and 10, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Started after I left.
It hasn't been used, or, you know, we haven't enforced it at any point.
Did you actually have
So I'm
to-
not real familiar with it right now, I'll have to go back and revisit it, but no, it is in
There
our
are
book.
specific
It is in our book.
decibel levels that are
There is.
allowable right at the property line, so.
How do we measure that?
It was well-researched, Gene, I gotta tell you, Albert Tian was the other guy.
I'm not disputing it, I'm just saying, what do they use to measure? Do they have a decibel thing? that-
Yes.
If this tells you how loud it is, my next door neighbor, Kathy Noah, she's one house closer to them, but I sit back further than her. So, you know, the sound, it carries differently.
What we'd
But
have to
she
do is,
purchased the Vanoy property on Valley,
Yeah, no, yeah.
they hear it down there. That's how loud it is.
I'd actually have to talk to Frank, because that was one of the issues, is that, your phone has they have apps for the thing, but
They have an app for that.
they do. And we tried it out, and it was actually pretty accurate compared to the industrial stuff that Albert brought up. But you still have an issue of calibration and everything else.
Calibration.
So basically, all you can do is, you know, what it amounts to is going back to, so even if you're in violation, all you do is go back to it and you tell them to turn it down.
Well, I know, like, because I'm a retired law enforcement officer, people call the police all the time for loud music. My son lives on Fox Road in Auburn. One time a year, they had a Halloween party, you know, every year. Every year, the sheriff came and said, shut it down for one day. It's like, if I decide on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of every week to blast my loud music, they're gonna come and tell me I have to turn it off. Yet this guy's allowed to do this every single weekend. And they'll go up like on a Thursday night till 2 a.m. I just lay in bed and I seethe about it because it's so unfair that we can't have peace.
Let's take a look at the book again, as I said, I have.
Will you call me or?
Yeah,
or
we'll.
come
Leave your
to-
phone number
We'll
and
dig it out in the next
we'll get
couple
with
days.
Frank and see what
Okay.
we could do about it. You know, and maybe we can work with him and,
Now, the other
Yeah, the
places are
sheriff's
doing,
department.
you
I
know,
mean, you call the
beyond
sheriff's
44,
department,
like
but-
that 8th day, they're all doing outside music now.
Oh, we party down every.
I've not been disturbed, I'm sure other people may be. My specific thing that's disturbing me is the one on 44.
Have you called the sheriff's department?
No, I have not.
Is it your son?
well,
Well, I'm just saying,
I know.
I mean, somebody's gonna have to go up there and say, hey, turn this stuff down.
Well, they don't want those calls. I can tell you from 32 years of being a cop, they don't want those calls.
well,
You're tying them up for nonsense crap.
yeah, you're right. They used to show up
And
at the
it's a
party
little
center.
different, cause they're a business. And I'm all for people making a living, but there's gotta be some kind of, you know, we deserve to be able to live in peace, that's why we live in Auburn. That's why I want to stay where I am, I love it.
We may have something in the book that will help as well.
We'll take, all we do is take a look at it for you and see if there's anything we can do.
Leave your
you very
phone
much.
number with Lorraine and
I will,
tell your mom I said hello.
I will.
Besides all those diesel trucks pulling into, the, new gas station up there, that'll drown out the music.
Well, I was going to add, I think my uncle owned that AmeriGas property, way back in the day, my dad's brother, he owned a gas station there. Yeah, the one thing I know just from where I worked, which is a lot different than Auburn, Chesterland,
So are you between Jackie and Kathy? Or-
it's Jackie, Terry, Greg, Debbie, Kathy.
What year
It
you
brings-
graduated, Kathy?
79. It brings crime. You bring, as much as I'd love to have a gas station to run up and get a milk or,
I was gonna mention that, but
it
I
brings
figured they
crime
already
to your
did like me.
neighborhood. Easy access to commit a crime, jump on the freeway and they're gone.
Yep,
I mean, we had, you know, a murder at Clark Oil in Chesterland. It'll bring crime to your neighborhood.
that's why we didn't wanna drop off at Munn.
Right? I mean, those are all things that gotta, you know, you gotta think about all of that.
That's already happened, the last vestiges of the AmeriGas when it was a gas station down there, they got hit several times.
Yeah.
Cause the freeway, I don't know, but does it make it easier?
I
Sure.
mean, would it be convenient for all of us? Heck, yeah, you know,
Well,
but,
Debbie, you remember there was there 2 functioning gas stations when we started driving down there? Corny's, Chuck's had gas pumps.
you
And
mean at
this Ohio.
Doxville?
Doxas Hills.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dascasel, that was Chuck Dascasel.
Yeah.
And Corny Benyak was
Yeah.
the other bar.
yeah,
But
you know,
there were gas
as
pumps
long
there.
as Corny's and, Auburn Inn, you know, I knew the Sofranics, when they bought it, they have never disrupted our neighborhood in all the years. I mean, maybe parking, you know, like people are idiots and park on the road and, but never noise, ever.
They rarely had bands at that place, but
They
they
used
did,
to
when they
put
did, it
tents
was
up and
inside.
do clam bakes
When they
and,
did,
and
it
I
was
went to that
inside.
stuff, you know? But when it's like day after day and hour after hour of having to listen to this headbanging music, I'm like, oh, I can't take it anymore.
Well, hopefully we have something that'll help out there. Let's see what we can figure out.
Okay. All right, any other public comment?
I'm in the same boat as Debbie over here. I live on Auburn. You know, it just seems like the noise has been becoming way more over what it should be here.
Where do you live?
Auburn, 18880. I'm right across the street from, we're dealing with Cleveland Warehouse right
Oh, okay.
now. And it scares me to death that that is gonna happen to my house. That they're gonna have
Have they
bands
been
there.
having parties and everything there?
What's that?
Have they been having parties? and-
I have not seen anything since, which is good.
We had the one grand opening so
Well, I
far.
heard they
That
were
grand
through
opening
everything.
was, ridiculous. It was insane, the amount of people that had there, and the noise. And that's why people move out here, that's why I moved out here with my family, was I wanted a quiet residential area. whatever we need to do to keep that.
If you see parties or anything there, report it.
What is the, I know you guys said you hadn't checked on the ordinances,
They haven't come back with anything, and I'm told,
Okay. You're talking about our noise
the noise,
resolution?
yeah, the resolution, I know
As I
that
said, it's been a few years, it was well researched and
my concern is just that if they're having a party, who do I tell at 9 PM to come and test the noise?
A, I'd call the sheriff, and B, the next day I'd report it to the zoning department
Yeah,
here.
we called the sheriffs, that night, they go over, you know, there's nothing really that they can do.
They haven't been approved for anything yet.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
tell them
that's
they're
kind
the
of a-
guys of the Auburn Art District.
Yeah, which is another.
Give me a break.
yeah, that's kind of,
I mean,
the
come
one
on,
down
man.
Auburn Road's kind of a standalone there. It's, there's a lot of things going on there,
This is a residential
yeah.
community and people want that peace and quiet. It just seems like that's, you know.
That original noise resolution, didn't it have to do with being able to measure the decibels for a specific period of time? And it started like, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning, I
Well, yeah,
vaguely
there
remember
was
that.
a very specific time frame
Yeah,
and decibel levels, because basically what it was all the trucks that were going up at,
Yeah, it was based on like Jake breaks and stuff like
yeah,
that.
no, not like that.
That's what got it started.
Well, no, not like that, but they were, idling the diesels and stuff, and it was right adjacent to
Derbyshire.
Derbyshire.
Derbyshire and,
So you have Derbyshire here, and you have all that industrial, you have a lot of landscaping.
Derbyshire bordered a
Eclipse.
specific area. And didn't it also have to do with, yeah, the architecture, Eclipse?
Right,
Eclipse was in,
well, it's the Eclipse
yeah,
building now, but who was ever there,
Yeah.
Wheeler, I think, was,
Wheelers, yeah, it was Wheelers.
and so
I'm
that was.
surprised we haven't heard any complaints from Derbyshire. They're closer than she is.
Well,
Well, you know why? Because
because the buildings, that's
the
music.
guy that does, cleans, his name's Mike Jacobs, he's been there for their events, you know, with the food trucks and all that. He said it's because they are facing towards my house.
They are.
They're not like at the back of their property facing their own property, so the sound is going that way toward me.
They play on the east side of the building.
Maybe he needs to build a wall.
Did you say one of the neighbors went over there and asked them?
My next door neighbor tried to go talk to them and she said they were downright rude. They didn't care, they kept us awake till 2:30 in the morning with loud music and told her there's nothing you can do.
But was that ownership or was that?
I don't
the-
know.
the food
I tried to get her to
truck
come,
people?
but she couldn't come tonight. But I know she's really bothered by it too. I mean, there's homes right across the street from them. Like, people have to wake up and go to work. It's just rude. It's very rude, I think.
and my property abuts 422. Man, was I upset when they opened that thing up. It was nice and quiet until they opened that damn road up. And all these
The
trucks
freeway?
and cars.
Oh, I hear the freeway.
I called ODOT, I told them to move
My
that freeway, and they said no.
house. All night long I hear the freeway, but trust me, the music is worse.
All right, well, on that note, we are going to go into executive session. No, there will be no business
No,
afterwards.
No,
I'm
no action.
done. I gotta get it.
Nothing whatsoever. And that is to consider the employment, dismissal, or discipline of a public employee pursuant to RC 121-22G1.
Made that motion?
Second.
I will second that motion.
Am I getting on?
Thank you.